Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I am here to talk about that What If episode 4. Now, What If has been a tale of two tapes. So far, there's been 4 episodes. The first 2 episodes were very positive, and they had these very positive things to it. Sure, the Peggy Carter one still ended sadly, but it's not like super duper sad. We know that Peggy survives, and you know, it's sad in a different way, but it's still upbeat. It's still awesome to see Peggy Carter kicking this much ass. Had some awesome sequences in it. And the second episode, What If T'Challa was Star-Lord, was fun. It was upbeat. It was cool seeing it was a great message about how one person can change so much about everyone, and it was a great message about Chadwick, and it was a great representation of Chadwick Boseman himself, as he's this one man who changed so much. So, like, the first 2 episodes were positive, like, in terms of tone. And then the third episode, what if, what if we didn't have the Avengers, was dark. It had enough humor in it, though. Sorry. It had enough humor in it that even though it was dark and sort of bleak, it was funny. It had enough humor, it had enough other things happening in it that you were like, okay. And it had a nice twist with Hank Pym at the end. Like, I didn't really even figure that out till about the hope, till Black Widow starts saying, hope, it's about hope. That's what I figured out. I didn't even consider it while I was watching it. So it was a great little murder mystery. And even though it was so bleak, with Loki taking over the world and all the Avengers except for Cap dead, it was sad. But it left you with this bit of optimism at the end. At the end, it was like, you know what? No matter what happens, heroes will always rise to fight villainy. It may not be the Avengers that we know, but another team, another group of heroes will rise up to fight off Loki. It'll be different, it'll be a different world, but heroes will always rise to the occasion to fight villains. Like the idea in at the end of the third one, was heroes will rise regardless. Okay, the fourth one's just bleak. Like, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. There are some funny bits in here, but overall, it is bleak. It is the closest thing to a Black Mirror episode that they've done. And all of these what ifs are sorry, it's kind of raining around me, so you might hear drops hitting the window. But all these what if episodes are kind of like that. All these what if episodes are kind of like Black Mirror episodes, but none more than this one. So this what if surrounds Doctor Strange. In particular, what if instead of Doctor Strange losing his hands, he lost his heart? And what that means is, what if Christine, a lot of people forget about this, Christine, the woman that he was in love with in the first movie, a lot of people forget that in that movie, he had invited her to go to he was going to to accept some award, he was going to accept some type of award at an award ceremony and give a speech. And he invited Christine to come with him to go to the award ceremony, but she refused to. He went alone, got in a car crash, messed up his hands, became Doctor Strange, we know. But in this reality, she chose to go with him. And the result is, she dies and his hands are fine. But the problem is, if you paid attention enough in the original Doctor Strange movie, you realize that in the end of the day, she ended up being the person who was most important to him. And in this movie, she dies, which still leads him down the path of pursuing magic and becoming Doctor Strange. And the same events of the first movie play out the exact same way, except in the end scene in Doctor Strange. I don't know if you guys remember it. It ends with him looking at the watch and looking out the window and just kind of staring and just kind of like in his thoughts. And it ends right there. But this version of the events it goes like that, except this time, he has the weight of wanting to bring Christine back, and he has the time stone, so then he goes back in time. He just straight up goes back in time and tries to prevent her death. But she keeps dying and dying and dying and dying and dying and dying and dying, and he's breaking down more and more and more and more. It reminded me of a film that I have not seen in a very long time, and my boy Guy Pearce in it. The Time Machine. Have anybody seen that movie? That's a shout out. That's a deep cut shout out right there. The Time Machine. I saw that movie one time. I was I was at a friend's house. Well, not even at a friend's house. At like some like at one of my like being babysitted technically. I was like 13 or something, which I don't need a babysitter, but I had one. And I saw it. I just saw it one day, and it was such a crazy movie. It was such a crazy movie. It was like about this dude who had lost the love of his life, and he made this time machine to try to save her. But no matter how many times he went back, she would die over and over and over again. So eventually he just said, fuck it, and went to the future. But that's another story for another time. I remember seeing this movie. I remember seeing this scene. I'm like, it reminded me of that. And so many people went Groundhog's Day. But I thought Time Machine, because Time Machine dealt with the same thing. Trying to bring back. No, I thought someone was knocking on the door for a second there, but it's the rain. Trying to build a time machine to bring back the love of his life, and it just won't work. And we discover from the Ancient One at a certain point that her death is a fixed point in this universe. They gotta understand, all of these, each individual what ifs are alternate universes. So it's all in one universe, like it's in one universe. The time travel, all of it is in this universe. So in this universe, the catalyst for Doctor Strange becoming Doctor Strange is the death of her. It's the death of Christine. In our regular universe, it's clearly his his hands. But it's kind of even shown that like the process of him becoming a sorcerer was done even quicker, because one, his motivation was more than just himself, and his hands worked, so it's a lot easier for him to do shit. Now, it leads him down a dark path as the Ancient One tells him that he cannot change this event. It's a fixed point in time. Christine has to die so that you become the Sorcerer Supreme. If you change this, you don't become the Sorcerer Supreme, and on this universe is at the risk of being destroyed. And like he's not having it. He pursues knowledge regardless of what the cost. The Ancient One attempts to stop him. He ends up going, I can't tell, he goes back to a time period that the Ancient One cannot follow. Because, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in the original Doctor Strange movie, there was a lot of hubbub made about this, the missing pages of the Book of Cagliostro. I always say his name wrong, Cagliostro. Cagliostro. I can't say his name right. But the book kind of focused on the study of time. That was at least that was the one book, but apparently he had a library. But they only had one book from his library here, because apparently all the other books were lost in time. But Doctor Strange being able to travel back in time to the original library, to all the original books of Cagliostro, it allowed him to get in. It allowed him to pursue the knowledge of figuring out what it would take to fix to bring Christine back permanently, to bring her back. And in that pursuit, he discovers that he has to absorb the abilities, the life force of other beings, of other powerful beings throughout the dimensions. And that's what he starts doing. He figures it out, and he starts absorbing beings inside of him. Now, while he gets there, he meets this librarian. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but this librarian with his two different colored eyes. Now, it's hinted that he probably is Cagliostro. I can't say that name right. I think it's Cagliostro. Whatever. It's hinted that he probably is, since he's the only one here, and he has the knowledge to all these books. And the whole time he's looking at Strange, and he's just like, I wouldn't do this if I were you. He's not stopping him, but he's like, and he says things, and it's the crux of the whole entire story. And the entire story is about how love is dangerous. Love is a beautiful thing. Love is a beautiful thing. It's something we all pursue. It's something we all want. It's something that I think every human being deserves. And with it, it can bring you great peace. It can bring you great peace of mind. It can bring you great comfort. But love is also dangerous, because love is illogical. It's illogical, and it can make you blind. It can make you see what you want to see. It can push you to do things that you never thought you would do. Just think to yourself. Just think to yourself. Think of the one person that you love most in the world. Think of what if they were taken away from you. Is there really, honestly, anything in the world you wouldn't do if you knew that they could come back? You know, there was a show I watched, and I watched the whole thing. I actually dug it, The Blacklist, with James Spader. And there was an episode about this guy who was like hiring terminally ill people who were in great financial trouble, and he was hiring these terminally ill, people to kill people on his behalf. and he was saying, I'd pay off all your debt, and I'll pay off the debt of your children, your grandchildren, you wouldn't even have to worry about it. And it's one of those things where I'm like, if you knew that the people you love would be taken care of, and you know that if you don't do this, that they're going to be in financial what would you do for the people you love? What would you do for a person you love? Especially with this kind of power that Doctor Strange has. Needless to say, he doesn't heed the librarian's warnings, and he pushes himself, and he absorbs an alarming amount of creatures from all kinds of creatures, like phoenixes and dragons, and like creepy looking creatures, and he absorbs all garden gnomes, and like he absorbs all kinds of creatures and snakes, and his facial expression, and the more he absorbs, the darker he gets, the kind of grayer his face kind of gets, and he absorbs all of these beings over centuries. No, you didn't hear me incorrect. Centuries. Apparently he froze his physical being in time and just started just doing this over centuries and just absorbing all these creatures. And then it turns out there's a bump in the road to him casting that spell. Before he disappeared, the Ancient One managed to split him in two. Or she managed to split the timeline in two. There's two parallel timelines. There's a Strange who chose, and out there's another version of him, a Strange who chose to not pursue this. So, needless to say, we go back and start following the good Strange, let's say, the Strange who chose not to pursue this, and the Ancient One pretty much comes to him and say, you gotta stop yourself, because if you can't stop him, this reality, this universe is gone. And there's an epic, awesome battle that takes place. I mean, first of all, the art, I've already raved about the art design in this show. I love the animation. I love the way it looks. But Benedict Cumberbatch coming back, you get Benedict Wong coming back, get Tilda Swinton coming back. I mean, having them back, they even got Rachel McAdams to come back in first and even got Rachel McAdams to come back, and she's coming back in the next Doctor Strange movie, by the way. That's kind of a lowing thing, but she is coming back. So you got a whole voice cast, and this is probably, I think Benedict Cumberbatch, out of all the voice actors, it's Benedict Cumberbatch, it's to me right now, if I'm ranking the voice actors, the actors doing the voice stuff, it's Benedict Cumberbatch is just the best. I think he seamlessly did it, because sometimes in a lot of the performances, which, you notice it from time to time, you can tell that they're not really voice actors, so they have a hard time figuring out the tones and how to speak and how to do it, which Benedict Cumberbatch, I didn't feel that at all. I didn't feel it really with Haley Atwell, and I didn't really feel it with Chadwick Boseman. Those are the three characters, which great, they're the leads, so it's great that it worked that way, and I didn't feel that with Samuel Jackson. I didn't feel that with them. I didn't feel that with Samuel Jackson. Occasionally with some of the other characters, I would feel their voices kind of were weird, because it's they're not used to doing this, and you can kind of tell they're not used to doing this. But I did not hear that with Benedict Cumberbatch. I heard it a bit with Tilda. It didn't feel like she's not used to doing something like this, so it's kind of the voice didn't really add up. But Benedict Cumberbatch killed it, man. And they had this epic battle, this epic Strange versus Strange battle. Dark Strange won, absorbed Good Strange, performed what he came to perform, brought Christine back, but unfortunately for him, he did not think this through, because he brought her back to a reality that is crumbling, so it doesn't even matter if he actually brought her back, because the reality is disappearing, so it doesn't even matter. So while reality is literally crumbling on him, it's blacking out, everything's blacking out, he looks up to the sky and he sees the Watcher, and for the first time ever in one of these episodes, the Watcher interacts with the character. And Strange begs the Watcher to intervene, to save my reality, to save these people. I don't care what happens to me. And the Watcher looks at him, and I'm paraphrasing here, and goes, reap what you sow. You reap what you sow, Stephen. I cannot interfere. And essentially the way the Watcher was putting it is, I wish I could help you, but I can't risk your bullshit affecting other universes, other realities. The thing about it is, this is just a reality. This episode ends bleak. I mean, it ends with that reality disappearing, and the only thing left in it is Doctor Strange. That's it. Floating in an empty void of nothingness. On his knees crying, saying, I'm sorry. That's how this shit ends. And it's just damn. And the Watcher's just look, man, You just one universe in many universes. Like this ain't so important that I need to risk all the other universes. You fucked up. Seems like a you problem. And like, I'm curious if that's gonna be a thing, if the Watcher is gonna start getting more and more interactive. Because in the first 2 episodes, he didn't do anything. He just talked. He gave a little here and there. 3rd episode, you started to see him. Because I would say I missed him in the 1st episode. I didn't see him in the background in the 1st episode. 2nd episode, you notice him, but not always. Like, I didn't really notice him. 3rd episode, I'm like, I see him. I see him clear as day. This episode, see him clear as day. He's interacting with Doctor Strange. And I was just like, yo, plus, and you actually got to see his form, which he was black, and I was like, okay, don't lie to me, Jeffrey Wright. You're gonna show up in the MCU as Uatu. Like, no, don't bullshit me, Jeffrey. We know what you're gonna do. You're gonna be Commissioner Gordon and Uatu at the same goddamn time. I'm cool with that. Anyways, this is a 10. This is the best episode they've done. It's bleak, it's dark, it's twisted, it's a thought experiment of how far someone's willing to go when someone's grieving and they got that kind of power. WandaVision hit on things like this, and I loved it in WandaVision. I love things like that anyways. Like when someone powerful is grieving, if someone powerful is going through shit like this, it's a dangerous situation because they're powerful. You know what I mean? Me and you having someone we love murdered and not being able to get justice is a bit different than, I don't know, the fucking president of the United States having someone they love get murdered and them not being able to get justice. You think they can't get justice? You know what I mean? It's a bit different. There are powers, there are levels to this shit. Me and you, it was like, me and you having our wives die in a car crash is a bit different than someone who can manipulate time having their wife killed in a car crash. There's levels to this, and just, you just have that feeling of what would you do for someone you love. And then, what if you have the power to change it? Would you care? Would the consequences be worth it? Would you be able to justify it in your head? Love can do things like that. Anyways, I love this episode. It's my favorite one. Bleak as fuck. Dug the shit out of it. Anyways, have you guys seen What If episode 4? I'm not going to put it in the title because I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but you should check this one out. This one's damn. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for the goddamn movie show again. Please be like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.